Hi family, welcome to my vlog. In this video I'm going to share with you all how I made this beautiful sari blouse with no zipper, no hook and straps. So for this video I'm going to show you guys how I drafted the pattern, and in my next video I'll show you guys how to sew it. Let's go. This is the starting line. From the starting line we will take the full measurement, which is 16 inches. Then we will repeat the same measurement in the other side and connect them to form a straight line. From the same starting line, we would come down by our bust point measurement plus ½ inch sewing allowance. Then our under bust measurements plus ½ inch sewing allowance. We will repeat the same thing on the other side and then connect the two of them together to form two parallel straight lines. On the starting line, we will take half of our shoulder measurements minus 1 because we are dealing with a thin sleeve. My shoulder measurement, half of it is 8, minus 1 is 7 because we are dealing with a thin sleeve. And then we will take 4 inches as our neck width. Then from that point 7, we will come down by 1 inch. We will connect this 1 inch point to the 4 inch point we have marked, and this gives us our shoulder slope. From that shoulder slope, we'll come down by half of our armhole measurement minus 1. My armhole, half of it is 8, minus 1 is 7. This is because by the time you're done, because we are dealing with a thin sleeve, by the time you're done, it will still go back to 8. But if you take 8, it will be too much. Now we'll go ahead and take our bust circumference divided by 4, which will give me 8.5. My bust circumference is 34, divided by 4 will be 8.5. Then on the armhole line, I will come up by 1 inch. From that 1 inch point, I'll go in by ½ inch. This forms my first point. Then I'll take the midpoint of my armhole, which is that 7 inches divided by 2, and it will give us 3.5. Then I'll mark 3.5. From point 3.5, I'll come out by ½ inch, and this forms our second point. And this is our first point. Now I'm going to connect these 3 points together to form the armhole. To make this video more beginners friendly, I'm going to go ahead and label these lines. So the first one is the bust line, second one is the under bust line, and the last one is the full length line. On the bust line, I'll take half of my nipple to nipple measurement, which is 4. I will take that on the under bust line as well, and I will take that on the full length line. Then I will connect these 3 points together to form a straight line. This side of the pattern is called the center front. The other side is called the side front. On the side front part of the under bust line, come in by ½ inch and take the same on the full length line. Then connect the two of them. Connect this point to this point with an armhole curve to form just a little curve. On the armhole line, come down by 2.5 inches. Then from that point 2.5, come down by 3 inches. Then connect this point 3 inches to this point 4 for the nipple to nipple measurement in a broken line. Just watch what I'm doing. First, I really recommend you use your freehand sketch for this. Please don't use an armhole curve or a pattern master. Just use your freehand sketch to do this. From the same 4 inch point on the bust line, connect broken lines to meet that 2.5 inches on the armhole line. When we cut off this empty place, this 3 inch mark, when we cut it off, it's going to affect the armhole. So in order for our armhole not to be affected, we'll replace this 3 inch mark by extending that length like you see me do. So we're just going to extend it by the same 3 inch mark, and then from there we'll form our new armhole. Then we'll take the bust circumference divided by 4. My bust circumference is 34, divided by 4 is 8.5. On the under bust line, we will take the under bust circumference divided by 4. Then we will return that half an inch, and then on the full length line, we will take the tummy circumference divided by 4. Then we will return that same half an inch. Then we would go ahead and add 2-inch sewing allowance. I always recommend 2-inch sewing allowance because it is better to have excess than to be deficient, so that at the end of the day, whatever remains, you can just trim it off. So the neckline is 4 and the depth is 5 inches. Then on the 5-inch point, we'll take the same 4 inches. Then close to the center front, you take the same marking as well as you see me do. From that marking you made at the center front, come down by 1.5 inch and then connect with an armhole curve to form the sweetheart neckline. At the bottom of the tummy line, come up by 1/2 inch and then connect with an armhole curve to form a little curve. Then we proceed to take the shoulder allowance, which is 1/2 inch sewing allowance. Like I said, this is a thin sleeveless blouse. So now, by the time we are done cutting out the patterns and folding the neckline and the armhole, you will notice that it will become 1 inch. So the reason I took 7 inch here is because by the time I am done sewing, it will go back to 8 inches. If I take 8 inches, it will be too wide. So that is it. So just go ahead and cut out this pattern nicely as you see me do. And yeah, that's all for the front pattern. So now let's proceed to the back pattern. We start off the back pattern with the same 16 inches full length on 2 sides of the paper, and then we connect those 2 points to form a straight line. Then we will proceed to take the back measurements, which is our bust point measurement plus 1 inch, that is 10 plus 1, that's 11. Then we will take half of our shoulder measurements minus 1. It's basically the same thing we did in the front. Like I said, basically the same thing, the same shoulder slope that we did in the front. That's exactly what I'm doing. That's exactly what I'm repeating. So you would notice I didn't give any zipper allowance for this back side, and that is because we are not using any zip and we are not using any hook. It's going to have straps, and that's what we are going to use in forming a bow tie at the back. So that's the reason we are not adding any allowance for the zipper. So back now, we are going to take the same armhole. Like I said, the armhole we are using for the saree blouse is our half of our armhole measurement minus 1, that is 7. Unlike the front, when we take the midpoint of the armhole, we are not coming out by 1/2 inch. So I'm just sketching out the armhole for you to see. The length of our neckline is going to be the same as the length of the back, which is 11. So I'll mark that as 11. Then the width is still going to be the same, 4 inches. And it's just going to be a U neckline, basically. So we will just impute the shoulder slope like we did in the front. Then we will take the bust circumference divided by 4 and then tummy circumference divided by 4. You would notice that this dress doesn't have a dart, and that's because it is straps. It's not going to have any zip. So by the time you tie it at your back, you will know the reason why you don't need a dart. So you also remove the same 1/2 inch you did in the front for the back and make a little curve. Now we are going to cut this out, and I'm going to show you what we are going to do next. Now cut out a fresh pattern paper of 20 inches long and place this pattern, just the tip of that pattern as you can see me do, place it on the new pattern that you have cut out. This is what we have. On the new pattern paper, measure out 20 inches width. Then mark a straight line from the 20 inches point back to where the new paper meets the old pattern paper. Now the length of this old pattern paper is 4.9. As you can see, we are going to mark that 4.9 at that 20 inches point from top to bottom, like you can see me do. Just watch what I'm doing. If you don't understand what I'm doing, just watch what I'm doing. It's very easy. Now I'll start making a curve and start going down continuously, and this curve will keep decreasing as I go down. I'll take like 2 inches here, then connect it to meet that line I'm drawing. Now I just want to put a little design, so I'm going to make a little curve, as you will see me do here. Now I'm just going to go ahead and cut off excesses, and what we have left is our back pattern, our full back pattern.